Welcome back, folks, to WrestleRant. I'm Graham G.S. Matthews, and on the one-year anniversary of WrestleMania 31, we're breaking down the pay-per-view as seen in the WWE Network right here, right now, today on WrestleRant. So, of course, for the last couple of days, or the last edition on Saturday, broke down the post-WrestleMania Raw from 2012, April 2nd, to be exact, from 2012. We'll be breaking down the 2013 show on Saturday, so stay tuned for that. And maybe I might change up the schedule and post one every day and the road to WrestleMania, who knows. I'm putting this up on Tuesday, usually for those newcomers, for the new viewers here, for the new listeners. The WrestleRant videos are uploaded every Wednesday now, and WrestleRant radio excerpts are up on Thursdays, and WWEC radio excerpts on Tuesdays, and those are up on Thursdays. But because, like I said, today marks the one-year anniversary, I figured I would change it up. And because WrestleRant Radio is live tonight, as you're listening to this, hopefully on Tuesday, the show is going to be going up on Tuesday night, WrestleRant Radio, with full picks, preview, and predictions for WrestleMania 32 this upcoming Sunday. Every prediction for every match in the card will be uploaded to this very channel in the days leading up to WrestleMania. So I just wanted to throw that out there before we begin here. So WrestleMania 31, like I've gone on the record and saying in the past, one of, if not my favorite WrestleMania as a fan, going back to 2008, 2009. I mean, I know that's not saying much, but it's right up there with WrestleMania 28. Another show that lives, that is holds a very special place in my heart for being a great show. WrestleMania 31, top to bottom, I thought was a spectacular show, especially for an event that had such shitty build for the most part. One Raw was great, the next week it was crap, so we had really no idea what to expect, a lot like with WrestleMania 30 at WrestleMania 31, and it ended up exceeding expectations and being a great show. So kicking it off here, I won't mention the pre-show stuff. You can watch that on the network if you want. The tag team title match, Tyson Kidd and Cesaro successfully defending the WWE tag team titles against the New Day, the Usos, and the Matadors. Very good match. You can check that out on the network, as well as the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. Very throwaway. Big Show won. Throwaway, literally. But yeah, it was a very throwaway match, so I wouldn't bother checking that out, if only for the tag team title match. Check out the pre-show, like I said, also available on the network. Kicking off the actual event, a 7-man ladder match for the WWE Intercontinental Championship. Bad News Barrett defending against Dean Ambrose, Dolph Ziggler, Stardust, Luke Harper, R-Truth, and Daniel Bryan. In the build for this match, unlike this year, because I don't want to go on a huge rant about this right now, I've talked about it before, the match for the IC title this year should be just Owens and Zayn one-on-one. It makes no sense to do another 7-man ladder match for the championship just because... the real feud is with Zayn and Owens one-on-one for that championship. It makes absolutely no sense to be doing a 7-man matchup. So, that being said, I feel like it only really makes sense for last year anyway, when the championship meant jack shit. It made sense to kind of toss that championship in a 7-man matchup, and no one really gave a fuck about it. So the match itself I thought was great. Don't, forget about the build. If you didn't watch the build and you only watched the pay-per-view, just keep in mind the build was shit. But the match itself was a great train wreck opener in the best way possible. Everyone getting their shining moment. Dean Ambrose almost getting nearly killed at the hands of Luke Harper, being put through a ladder at ringside, which was awesome. But a lot of great spots. Everyone shined here at one point or another. In the end, Daniel Bryan ascending the ladder and becoming the new Intercontinental Champion. A sign of things to come, we hoped, with the Intercontinental Championship starting to mean something again. Unfortunately, Daniel Bryan had to relinquish that championship about a month later due to being injured, and he hasn't wrestled since, unfortunately. But yeah, Daniel Bryan winning in a great opener to WrestleMania. After that, Randy Orton taking on Seth Rollins, which ranked in at number 5 on my WrestleMania Recall series for Next Era Wrestling, which ranks my top 31 favorite WrestleMania matches of all time. It may seem a little high, but the match is just amazing. For a match that really had, I thought, solid build to begin with. They had great history dating back to 2013, 2014, when they teamed together at WrestleMania, or were against each other at WrestleMania 29 in opposite teams. They went one-on-one. 2 years later at WrestleMania 31, Orton got taken out at the foot, I was going to say hands, but it was technically the foot, of Seth Rollins in late 2014. He comes back like a house of fire at Fastlane, rejoins the Authority for whatever reason, so that's where the build kind of took a turn for the worst. And they got back on track in the weeks leading up to WrestleMania, but that was a bit strange. But anyway, the match itself I thought was a great wrestling match. Easily the best wrestling match in the entire show. That's why this show had, a little bit of everything. That's why I really like this show. But yeah, Orton and Rollins put together a great wrestling match. RKO, kick out, curb stomp, kick out. Orton delivering RKOs left, right, and center to J&J Security and Rollins. Going for the pun, he can't get it. Rollins goes for the Phoenix Splash, and he comes up short. I think Orton moved, or he didn't go for it fully and landed on his feet or something like that. But anyway, finish comes the most Fantastic finish, one of my favorite finishes probably of all time. And after coming off a great match, RJ and I and company, everyone I watched the show with last year, just came unglued out of our seats when this happened. So Rollins sets up the curb stomp. He goes for it. Rollins, I don't even know how I can accurately describe this without you watching it. But Orton launches Rollins in the air. When he puts his foot on the back of his head, that catapults Rollins up in the air, I guess would be the best word to describe it. Up in the air, and on the way down, Orton catches him in a mid-air RKO. I love the one on Evan Bourne back from 2010, but that is undoubtedly my favorite RKO out of nowhere of all time. Just amazing. Orton scores the victory, and it didn't mean anything by the night's end anyway for Seth Rollins because he would end up becoming WWE World Heavyweight Champion. So another great wrestling match on this show. After that, Triple H taking on Sting in the third match on the show, which was a bit surprising. The match itself, very controversial. There was no other match by the end of the night that had more controversy surrounding it than this match. For the outcome, the match itself, the interference. At the time, I enjoyed it. Watching it back, I enjoyed it. Just for the spectacle aspect of it. I didn't agree with the build, with it being WWE versus WCW, the last holdouts from the Monday Night War. I mean, who fucking cares? We all love the Attitude Era. We all love the Monday Night Wars. It doesn't need to be, brought back 14 years later after WCW is already dead. And I know this is just kind of WWE establishing that, we won the war. We need to remind you again by having Triple H beat Sting. Maybe that was a factor. Maybe Sting just said, I know he alluded to this in his DVD, that he figured it would be his first and last match for WWE, and he wanted to do the honors on his way out, which would not be the case. But yeah, anyway, so that was kind of the reason behind Sting losing. I still don't agree with it. Even a year later, I think it's stupid and one of the worst booking decisions in recent WrestleMania history. But the match itself, though, I thought was enjoyable. You might hate it just because it wasn't really a wrestling match. No one really expected it to be. But given the limitations, if you asked them to go out there and deliver a wrestling match, they would have fallen flat. So I thought the interference from NWO and DX, which made no sense because Sting hated the NWO in WCW, of course. We were kind of reminded of that in the Monday Night War series in the WWE Network just before this match aired, before this match happened. But anyway, yeah, I thought it was, the match itself was a spectacle. It was an attraction. It wasn't supposed to be a 5-star mat classic like Orton and Rollins was. But I enjoyed it for what it was. In the end, like I said, Triple H going over, shaking Sting's hand afterwards, which I thought made no sense. So that was a bit bothersome to say the least, and it still is a year later. But the match itself, you might hate it, but I enjoyed it for what it was. Up next, Divas Tag Team action, AJ Lee and Paige taking on the Bella Twins. Probably the best Divas match of WrestleMania in many years, which is not saying much. And at least they had history. Paige had been feuding with the Bella Twins for a while, as had AJ Lee. They never really teamed up together too much leading up to WrestleMania. They had on occasion in mid-2014, but other than that, AJ and Paige not teamed up, too often going into WrestleMania 32, or rather WrestleMania 31. Over the course of their feud in 2014. It was a decent match. They got 6-7 minutes. They made the most of it. They had a nice little match. It wasn't really more than that. AJ picked up the win for her team, and this would end up being her final, second-to-last match in WWE before wrestling her final match on Raw the next night and then retiring that Friday on Good Friday. So the match itself, good for what it was. Like I said, I appreciated that for the first time in many years, we had a story behind a women's match at WrestleMania. I would have preferred the championship to be on the line in a fatal 4-way or a one-on-one match. We didn't get that, but for what this was, I can't complain. It was a lot better than the fucking 10 Diva Tag Team or the Battle Royals or the Invitationals or, this, that, or whatever that we've gotten from the Divas in the last decade. So I appreciated that this was a nice change of pace, and I'm also happy that we're getting, a real women's wrestling match this year for the Divas Championship in that triple threat match. So up next, the United States Championship, John Cena contending for the gold against Rusev in a pretty solid match for what it was. As soon as Cena came out to that Pro USA video package, you knew he was winning. I know RJ, I know John, I know a few other people leading up to WrestleMania were not only hoping, but were predicting a Rusev victory. I know we're disappointed by that. I was like, fuck, Rusev lost, shit. As predictable as could be. But I wasn't really shocked. I figured John Cena would win. And in the end, it worked out for the better. Rusev, had he won here, probably would have been better off a year later than he is right now as a fucking loser. But John Cena winning here led to the U.S. Open, one of the best parts, if not the best part of Raw for the better part of 2015. So, I thought, they had a really, really good match here for what it was. I thought the Fastlane match was better, but this was still good. They made good use out of the time they were allotted. In the end, Cena winning with an attitude adjustment after a distraction from Lana at ringside. It was an inadvertent interference from Lana on the ringside apron. So she got knocked down. Cena follows up with the AA to pick up the victory and his fourth United States Championship. So good match. At the time, I was like, oh, fuck, John Cena, LOL, Cena wins, whatever. Cena wins, LOL. But like I said, in retrospect, which is why I do these reviews a year later, because we can talk about retrospect and the aftermath and stuff, it worked out for the better. We got Cena as the United States champion for a solid 6 months or so and gave us the U.S. Open, a lot of great debuts, and God knows awesome matches for, most of 2015. After that, our second to last match on the show, Undertaker and Bray Wyatt. All right match. It was just kind of there. Better than Taker and Lesnar, so I was happy about that. And this was another attraction match where, we got the money shot of Wyatt doing the back crawl or the spider crawl or whatever, and then Taker sitting up in signature Taker style. So that was a really cool visual. The match itself was good, not great, of course, not on the level of his matches with CM Punk or Triple H or Shawn Michaels from years past, but still a good match, and Taker looked infinitely better than he did the year before. Both from an in-ring standpoint and just visually, just aesthetically, he looked awful at WrestleMania 30. He looked like a fucking 80-year-old man when he's, in reality 50, which is pretty old for a wrestler, obviously, but he looked really bad at WrestleMania 30. So at 31, he looked a lot better after a good match with Wyatt. And Wyatt, this was a good spot for him on the card, but a year later, he's not even at WrestleMania. They might have announced the match for him on Raw. I'm recording this before Raw, so I have no idea, but the guy goes from facing John Cena and Undertaker back-to-back WrestleManias, and then the third year, he's not even on the fucking card. Typical. The aftermath of this feud was awful. They ended up revisiting it in the fall for Survivor Series and that tag team match, which was also a fucking waste. It was cool to see Taker at Survivor Series and the Brothers of Destruction back together one more time. But for Wyatt, it did absolutely nothing. Let's face it. The match was good. I forgot to mention the segment, too, with Triple H and the Authority in the ring. Stephanie and Triple H boasting about Triple H's victory over Sting, despite the fact he shook his hand after their match, which also made no sense, again, even in retrospect. So out comes The Rock making his surprise return. We hadn't seen him in a couple months, or actually since the Royal Rumble, so not too long. It had been rumored that he was going to be there, so he showed up. That was a cool little surprise. And in the ring, he brought Ronda Rousey, UFC's own, the undefeated at that time, and laying out Triple H and just putting Stephanie and just holding her arm. I was really hoping she would snap her arm or, feign an arm bar or something, and that didn't happen. I guess the logic was that they were holding out for an actual match, and that might still happen. But Rousey is not nearly as hot as she was a year ago. So even if they revisit that, it's going to be a big money match for WWE, but they should strike while the iron is hot and had her attack Stephanie then. It's not, like they blew their load in one segment. It was never a lock that she was going to wrestle to begin with. I figured they might have saved it for SummerSlam or for WrestleMania this year, and obviously this point, that's not happening. And it's going to be the same thing with Shaq, back from 2009, where they kind of held off on having Shaq at the complete better of Big Show in their match or their one segment encounter on Raw in 2009, holding out hope for a future match, and it never came to be. Because Shaq hadn't retired for a couple more years, and they had the perfect opportunity at WrestleMania 28, and they, for whatever reason, the plans fell through. So anyway, I just wanted to mention that. So the segment was good. It was cool to see Rock and Rousey in the ring, Rock and Ronda. They were promoting the Furious 7 movie that came out, which was pretty good, by the way. In the main event, Brock Lesnar defending the WWE World Heavyweight Championship against Roman Reigns in a very hard-hitting affair. Shades of his match with John Cena from SummerSlam, Brock Lesnar, that is. So I enjoyed that. I'm sitting there thinking that Reigns is going to win. I think we all kind of had that feeling. We might have that same feeling on Sunday in his match with Triple H. But in this case, I'm figuring Reigns is going to win. I'm going to start packing my shit up. Let's get going before he wins the title so I won't have to break out in tears when he wins. I just thought at this point he wasn't ready, and people were going to boo him out of the building. And only days earlier did Lesnar announce that he was not leaving the company. So that added an extra twist or an extra wrinkle to this match I thought wasn't going to be there. Which that really, amped up people's excitement for this matchup. But a really, really good match. It was finishers galore with like 3 spears, 4 fucking F5s, which was nuts. And 3 F5s he kicked out. I'm like, okay, what is this? The Undertaker? Is this, he's obviously the next John Cena, and he kicks out of, now he gets hit with one finisher and he's done. So there's no consistency there with Roman Reigns. But anyway, so he hits the, I love the one spot too. I forgot to mention this. When he's hitting the Superman punches, Roman Reigns, he's battling back, and Lesnar's all bloodied up after getting hit in the ring post at ringside, and he just refuses to go down to his feet. Refuses to leave his feet, and it was a great spot, and it took like 4 Superman punches before Lesnar finally fell down, before he finally was slayed by the Beast Slayer, Roman Reigns, I guess. That was an awful segue, but you know what I mean. By the big dog, Roman Reigns, I guess. So anyway, Roman Reigns goes for another spear, gets caught with an F5, a 4th F5 in the match, and before he can cover him, Out comes Seth Rollins, JBL on commentary. Brilliant. Great call. Hate JBL on commentary, but that was a great call. This is the heist of the century, Maggle. So anyway, Rollins comes running down, and he cashes in Money in the Bank. Something I never really saw coming. RJ said that he would cash in after the match, as many people did. I'm thinking, I don't think so, but if it's going to happen, it's going to happen after, Roman Reigns wins the championship, or the next night on Raw, or whatever. But he comes out during the match, something that had never been done before in the 10 years, almost exactly that Money in the Bank had been, in existence and made its debut 10 years earlier at WrestleMania 21. Never before had the Money in the Bank briefcase been cashed in at WrestleMania. Perfect opportunity, perfect story. So anyway, Rollins comes in, he gets Roman Reigns out of the ring, knocks out Lesnar with a curb stomp, goes for a second one instead of covering him. I'm like, oh no, fuck, cover the guy, cover Brock. And before he can, he gets hit with an F5 or gets, put up for the F5. I'm like, oh, okay, even if Lesnar wins, I'm fine. It's going to be a waste of the cash in, but it's still going to be fine. So Roman Reigns comes out of nowhere. Great camera angle. For all the shit that I give WWE, like I did in my last WrestleRant video, for the awful camera angles sometimes that I give, like for all the shit that I give their camera angles and Kevin Dunn and whatever, this was great. So you had Seth Rollins up for an F5. Roman Reigns comes out like a bat out of hell out of nowhere, spears Brock Lesnar. Rollins recovers, hit the curb stomp on Roman, pins him for the 1, 2, 3. Happy like a motherfucker. He explodes. I exploded. The arena exploded. Just brilliant booking. One of my favorite finishers, along with Orton and Rollins. But not even just the way that it was executed, just the way, just everything about it. It was fucking perfect. Roman Reigns was not ready to walk out of WrestleMania as champion. He didn't. Brock Lesnar stayed with the company, is still with the company, and will be with the company for another 2 more years. I don't know if he's going to lose on Sunday to Dean Ambrose. I don't think so. But as of right now, he remains unpinned and unsubmitted in the last 3 years since he lost to Triple H at WrestleMania 29 for whatever fucking reason that served, whatever purpose that served. But anyway, he didn't get pinned. Seth Rollins cashed in unprecedented fashion, something no one expected, and we had a new champion. And we went off the air for the first time in almost, other than The Miz winning at WrestleMania 27, but even he got knocked out by The Rock afterwards. And at WrestleMania 2000 when Triple H won, he got knocked out by The Rock afterwards. That was a common theme throughout those 2 matches. And Stone Cold Steve Austin. Other than WrestleMania 17, never before had a heel closed out WrestleMania as champion, whatever. Rock turned heel at WrestleMania 17. That closed out WrestleMania 17. But on this show, Rollins closed out as the heel new world champion, which was unprecedented, and it was amazing. Everything about the booking of this finish I thought was just fucking brilliant. I tip my cap to you, Vince, or whoever booked this. I thought it was fucking brilliant. No rumors, no spoilers, not even a hint, not even an indication, a slight indication that Rollins was gonna cash in. Beautiful. And the aftermath was great too. Roman wouldn't win the championship for another fucking, until Survivor Series or whatever. Lesnar and Rollins got to do their little rematch in the summer, which should have gone longer, but it was fun while it lasted. And Rollins got to embark on a lengthy title reign before he had to vacate it in November. So start to finish, great match, great angle, an awesome way to close a very, very enjoyable show. So obviously, needless to say, on the 1-year anniversary, I would strongly recommend checking out this match on the WWE Network today. So be sure to check it out. It is WrestleMania 31, one of my favorite, if not my number 1 top tier favorite WrestleMania of all time. So before WrestleMania 32 on Sunday, be sure to check out this WrestleMania. This was the only WrestleMania, obviously, that I didn't cover last year. And speaking of which, I talked about it before, but if you want to check out all my other WrestleMania reviews, I covered a couple 2 years ago when I brought back WrestleRant here to the channel as a review show solely. And then I did every other WrestleMania on the road to WrestleMania last year. So check out every WrestleMania review, in addition to this one, from 1 through 30. You can type it in, just go to the channel and type it in the search box, WrestleMania 17 review, WrestleMania 4 review, WrestleMania 25 review. They're all up there now. WrestleMania 31 gets added to the collection. And speaking of which, we did that, as a special way of commemorating 30 years of WrestleMania last year. This year on the road to WrestleMania, I've been doing a WrestleMania recall series for the website. Match number 3 should be up today on nextairwrestling.net. All the descriptions are down below in the description box here in this very video. Be sure to check it out. I've been every single day in the month of March, tongue twister, I've been posting a new favorite match on the road to WrestleMania. My top 31 favorite WrestleMania matches of all time. You sure as hell this match is in there between Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns and technically Seth Rollins. That match is on there. Like I said, Orton Rollins is on there. So a lot of great matches over 31 years of WrestleMania are on the list. Check it out. Number 3 is up today on the website, and all the other installments from March 1st to present day are on the website. Go under categories, under Columnist Corner, and number 2 and 1 will be up in the next couple of days. So we're finishing off WrestleMania, the WrestleMania week and the month of March with a bang, with those 2 articles coming up, and plenty more content, like I mentioned at the start of the video, going up in the remainder of the month, or rather on the road to WrestleMania, going up to Sunday. So we got this video today, tomorrow, and Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the entire lineup for WrestleMania. Every preview, prediction, pick, everything. We're breaking it down. It's a 4-man WrestleMania roundtable, only in WrestleRant Radio. I don't think it's going to be live, but the episode should be up tonight regardless, depending on whether you're listening to this. But on Tuesday, it should be up, so check it out. And that's enough of my rambling. That's all the plugs I got. The socials are down below. I won't go through that again. You guys know where to find me on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and right here on YouTube. Be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Have an amazing rest of WrestleMania week. I'm sure as hell I'm enjoying it as well. And I'll catch you folks down the road.